Hey, my friends. Well, I just want to do a video. I don't know how quick it'll be, but with the way things are going, I felt like I needed to make this video because I'm concerned about how this election process is going, and I'm concerned about the outcome and what's to come, and I want to prepare everybody for it if you haven't been prepared. Now, to all those who want to call me or others like me stupid or crazy or that I should just give up or whatever regarding the election, fine. I don't care. What I want to do, what I care about is you. And what I care about is everyone understanding what's coming, what's going on and what's coming. And we, all of us, have a right, deserve to know if there is true integrity in our election. And don't tell me, or anyone else for that matter, that we should just let it go, or that it's all over, because it's not. In fact, let me tell you, this is cool. This election is probably the best civics lesson that anyone could ask for in our lifetime. We are actually living out, seeing the full constitutional process play out like never seen before in our lifetime. There's little snippets here. If you count the 1960 with the election, was it Kennedy and Nixon? Anyway, for the most part, it really hasn't been played out in our lifetime. I do suggest you familiarize yourself with at least Article 2, Section 1, and Article 12 of the U.S. Constitution. You're going to need it, trust me, to understand what I believe is coming. Now, it's not entirely unprecedented. Yes, it's not been in our lifetime, but like in 1824, the 12th Amendment was exercised, and the House elected our president in, well, it would have been, it was 1824, I think. And if you think this election was crazy, contentious, whatever, you should really check out, read up on the election of 1876. It was Rutherford B. Hayes and Sam Tilden. So read up on that. It's good. And like I said before, there was kind of a piece of it was like the 1960 election. Hawaii was a new state. The electors there, that was a thing. It's interesting reading. I can't unpack all of this. I only have so much time. I'm trying to stuff it in a little IGTV video. So if I go fast sometimes, I'm sorry. Also, in 2000, I think it of note to say that Justice Ginsburg, and maybe it was Breyer, but I'm trying to remember exactly. I've read through a lot of stuff lately. But essentially, in the dissent, in Bush v. Gore, Supreme Court, it was said that basically, referring to like the safe harbor date and all the dates around, but basically, none of these dates, I believe the quote was, I have it here somewhere. None of these dates has ultimate significance in the light of Congress's detailed provisions for determining on the 6th day of January the validity of electoral votes. So, I know this is either going to offend or upset some of you, and I don't intend to, or maybe you just will laugh at me, but I have no ego, so just laugh away. I don't care. But Vice President Biden is not the president-elect yet. You may say, well, the Electoral College voted. The media says so. Or even, big old Republican Senator Mitch McConnell. McConnell. That, yeah. Rhino. Proven, by the way, by his action on the Senate floor. Anyway, but they'd be wrong. And it's not up to them to decide who the president-elect is. It's not official, until the President of the Senate, Mike Pence, declares it on January the 6th of next year. Oh, and by the way, I'm curious. I'm really curious. How we supposedly know that Vice President Biden has 302 electoral votes and President Trump only has 232. How do we know this? Why do I say that? Well, let me tell you. Because the Constitution states in Article 2, Section 1, that the electors in each state are supposed to sign and seal, it's in the Constitution, read it, the list of votes and transmit them to the President of the Senate, and then the President of the Senate opens all the certificates in the presence of a joint session of Congress on January 6th. And the votes are counted. Now, the person having the majority of the votes can be declared president. I say can be because there's factors still. And if there's no majority, the 12th Amendment comes into play. Now, that's an interesting one. It's happened before. Like I said, 1824, I think it was. Check it out. So if the 12th Amendment comes into play, then we get President Trump for another 4 years. That's the way it goes. If you don't believe me, read your Constitution. Because, yes, the House has the majority, but that's not how the vote works. So I don't have time to unpack it. Read the 12th Amendment. Read Article 2, Section 1. Understand this process, please. I beg you. Because you're going to need it. I know it. And as the count happens, there can be objections there can be objections to the electors from each state as they are counted. So as long as there's a Senate member that will back a House member's objection, and I believe it has to be written too. I mean, they will speak it on the floor, but you have to have a Senate member to back it up. I mean, this did happen in 2000 and it's happened before. But in 2000, House members objected, and there was no Senate member to back it. So they not only didn't really get heard, their objection was heard, but nothing happened with it because constitutionally they didn't have what they needed, and so they left the building. Anyway, it's more history. You can look that up yourself. Watch the videos. I mean, there's footage on it. It's cool. Anyway, so if they do that, if they have a House member object and a Senate member agrees, then they divide into their own houses and for 2 hours, I believe. That might even be a constitutional limit, where they debate and then they vote to reject or accept the final protest. And then back in the joint session, the results get announced and agreed on by both houses, and then if everything's that way, then those electors from whatever state can be excluded. Also, the way things are going, the way I'm seeing things play out, some things I'm hearing. You've heard of a constitutional crisis. The media is trying to say we're in a constitutional crisis. No, we're not. Look that up too, please. Don't let these people just tell you what is. Figure it out for yourself. What could happen, based on what I'm hearing about another slate of electors from multiple states, from what I understand, are also being sent, or will be, sent to the joint session on the 6th. So we could have a true constitutional crisis. And if that's the case, it is likely that the 12th Amendment would come into play. And again, if that happens, President Trump, our president, would be the president again for the next 4 years. Now, constitutionally, January 20th is Inauguration Day. And as far as all the contests and stuff to try to stop what's going, that's it. You're done. So constitutionally, that day must occur. So that'll be the final day. If it's still in contest, that's a whole different process, and we can address that if that comes up. If I really even care to do it, if it's even something that comes up. So, but also there's so much other stuff going on and so much that can be done, such as legislatures in their respective states can recall their own electors and appoint new ones, and I believe that's already been done. We shall see come January 6th. I mean, for instance, in Michigan, the governor locked the electors out of the building, which is totally unconstitutional and totally against the law. But the Michigan electors voted in the parking lot, I believe. So you might see that come into play on the 6th. So be aware. But above all, I believe we all should be concerned about this process. If we can't trust the election process, how can we be sure we have a free and fair election? If we don't have that, how can we be sure we even have a country? At least a free one. Every legal vote cancels a legal vote. This means that all of our votes are worthless if there's a case of illegal or fraudulent votes. Think about it. I mean, it's your vote too. Even if you voted for the guy that wins, your vote is useless because something else or someone else made it happen. Does that make sense? I mean, think. And by the way, what on earth does anyone have to lose in letting this process move forward? This is a constitutional process meant to make sure that our elections are not tampered with now and going forward. And if Biden won, I mean, why are you concerned? What have you got to lose, really? What are you afraid of? I mean, are you afraid that this fraud and illegal voting is actually true and that President Trump will be our president for the next 4 years, and that's why you don't want the process to continue? Because you can't, you abhor the idea of him being president for another 4 years? If that's the case, you need to check yourself. Please. And by the way, I give you all the same respect that I ask for. I hope you know that. If you doubt that, maybe you don't know me. Maybe you should get to know me. I'm not a bad guy. But I would give your candidate every shot to make sure that they weren't fraudulently kept from what's rightfully theirs. And by the way, I did that back in 2000. Gore had every right to go down that road. I mean, I know I'm not in your shoes, but I've been there, just not in such a major fashion. Also, by the way, I'm not a big fan of Gore, but if you ever go back and watch the footage of the joint session of Congress on the 6th day of January in 2001, he was a class act. He followed the Constitution. He oversaw, as President of the Senate, the electoral vote confirmation of an election that he was a stakeholder in. He followed the Constitution, didn't have a hissy fit or any such fiddle-faddle. Cheers to him for that one. I don't know if I could have done the same in his shoes. Probably. I hope so. Anyway, please familiarize yourself with the Constitution and the electoral process, because I believe that we are about to see civics exercised like we have never seen before, at least not in the last century or so. And if your feet aren't on solid ground, if you believe the election process to be done and the outcome sealed and looking forward to the next 4 years based on your belief stance, I pray that you will drop that and put your trust in the only solid rock, Jesus Christ. Because I believe that many are about to be shaken by this process. What the outcome will be, I don't know, but I'm sure I'm not going to let that outcome shake me, no matter how it goes. On Christ the solid rock I stand, all other ground is sinking sand, Anyway, Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas to you all, and a Happy New Year. God bless you. I love you.